Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives, other notable dignitaries seated here, our friends from the media, Nana Num, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am highly privileged to stand here on behalf of the National Association of Local Government Authorities of Ghana with warm greetings to you all. First of all, I wish to express our deepest appreciation to the Honorable Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, and the government for that matter, for the recognition accorded NALAG by giving us a slot to deliver a solidarity message at the important gathering of critical stakeholders and leaders appointed by the President to spearhead the transformation development agenda of the government by improving the well-being of the people of Ghana. Since local government is all about people, leading people is a dynamic activity, and it is becoming sophisticated in this fast-changing world. The skills of leaders need to be sharpened on a regular basis to equip them with the requisite knowledge, best practices, and strategies to enable them to become more effective and efficient in the execution of their roles and functions in order to achieve expected goals. Since the change of government, NALAG as an association of MMDCEs has been in a state of anxiety and uncertainty because the association lost a considerable number of its 17-member executive council as a result of the revocation of their appointment in January 2017. Consequently, we needed to fill the vacancies on the council with nominees from the various assemblies. Thankfully, pursuant to Article 11, Clause 8 of the NALAG Constitution, the appointments to the National Executive Council were done on 28 June 2017. NALAG has a new president in the person of Honorable Felix Mensah Nei Ananda, MCE for Tema Metropolitan Assembly. Nana Chairman, NALAG has been a strong advocate for deepening decentralization and good governance and ensuring the welfare of its members. A feather in our cap is the successful lobbying of previous government in 2015 to put MMDCEs on appropriate salary scales. Moreover, NALAG collaborated with the ministry to facilitate the procurement of motorbikes for assembly members in 2011, and we hope to continue these programs and initiatives. Nana Chairman, we wish to urge all of us to join hands to again lobby for the creation of allowances to be charged on the consolidated fund for honorable assembly members. Nana Chairman, we also need to pay more attention to capacity building of assembly members. NALAG did quite a lot in building the capacity of its members in the past, and is vigorously embarking on the drive to restore and improve its past efforts in this regard. We therefore urge all MMDCEs to cooperate with NALAG by ensuring that besides NALAG capacity building plans, budgetary provision should be made for training assembly members in their 2018 budgets. This is greatest support NALAG requires from you, our members, if we want the visibility of the association to be moved to the greater heights. On behalf of the National Executive Council of NALAG and the entire association, I wish you fruitful deliberations. Long live NALAG, long live our president, long live Ghana. Thank you.
Nala, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Archibald Lecha is the Volta Regional Minister. He will speak to us on behalf of all regional ministers who will work through. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Chairman Nana Otto-Srebo, the Chairman of the Council of State, Senior Minister, Honorable Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers, Members of the Council of State, Members of Parliament, Honorable, distinguished traditional rulers, Members of the Diplomatic Corps, Honorable Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives, facilitators and officials present, media practitioners, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege to officially welcome you all on behalf of colleague regional ministers to this orientation program for Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives in the country. A special welcome goes to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, for making it a point to be here at this opening ceremony, in spite of his busy schedule. We are indeed very grateful. With the same token, our appreciation goes to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, who has been a great mother to all of us, and her deputies for their invaluable contributions towards the success of the program. We appreciate the facilitators of this program. His Excellency the President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as our country develops and becomes modernized, critical functions such as planning, provision of municipal services such as infrastructure, roads, health and educational facilities, water, sanitation and waste management, recreational facilities such as parks and sporting grounds, as well as agriculture and agro-based industries have to be given special attention at the local level. It is therefore vital that representatives of His Excellency the President be well treated to the policies, laws and regulations, as well as the processes, procedures and strategies, so as to appreciate the policies of central government and be in a position to effectively and efficiently execute them at the grassroots level appropriately. Indeed, it is an undeniable fact that local governance has assumed a critical role in the short, medium and long-term strategic planning and development of the country by the municipal, metropolitan and district assemblies. As leaders at the local level who are expected to support and champion development, promote security, peace and unity at the local level, orientation programs such as this provide the opportunity to gain the right insight into local governance and provide the necessary guidelines to operate within the set laws and regulations of our nation. As the government of a political party that is well known for upholding the rule of law and is committed to ensuring that Ghana's decentralization agenda is advanced to enhance sustainable development, it is essential that her agents, at whatever level, will be expected to operate within the set rules and regulations. The chief executives of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies must therefore take note and act appropriately and properly. Our country is richly endowed, if well managed at all levels of governance, especially at the local government level. The desired impact will be made, and ultimately prosperity and better standards of living for our people will be attained. It is therefore appropriate that, as we are being given the opportunity in the history of this nation to contribute our quota towards its development and prosperity, we must all do our best to ensure that posterity judges us right, as having diligently contributed towards the betterment of our people. The sustainable development of this nation is the collective responsibility of us all, the politicians and other public officials, the youth, the women, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, professional associations, religious organizations, and above all, quality, dedicated, committed, and selfless leadership at the local level. This is required to harmonize and harness all the varied talents, potentials, and resources that abound in the nation to bring about the desired and expected results. And I want to promise on behalf of fellow regional ministers that we are committed to this agenda. As the chief representatives of the central government at the local level, we wish to assure His Excellency the President that we shall be adequately conversant with all the policies, all the programs and developmental agenda of the government, and we shall be fully prepared to successfully implement those that relate to local governance. We are fully aware that it is how well we serve our people that the theme for this orientation program, that is, quote, creating prosperity and equal opportunities for all through effective decentralization, unquote, will become a reality for us all. His Excellency, it is acknowledged that this orientation has opened the scope and horizon of the various MMDCEs, and we assure you of our readiness to utilize the knowledge acquired in the discharge of our duties. I thank you very much for your kind attention. God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lecha. Ladies and gentlemen, very shortly, His Excellency the President will speak to us, his charges on the ground, and give us our marching orders for the job he has in collaboration with the Assembly members giving us. But before then, I want to quickly invite upstage the Honorable Haji Ali Mahama, MP, Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, to speak to us before the election.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Nana Chairman, His Excellency the President of the Republic, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Deputy Ministers, Members of the Diplomatic Corps, Heads of Office of the Local Government Service, Head of Civil Service, Administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund, Chief Director, Director of LRDS, Honorable Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives, our esteemed traditional authorities, distinguished invited guests, the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to also welcome you all to this program, and a special welcome to our President and ministers who have gathered here today. We commend His Excellency the President for his successful trip to the AU Summit in Ethiopia and his award on the AU Gender Champion for 2017. Women, are you here? We have a champion. Please stand up and let's give him a bow. Only women. Indeed, the President talks about transformative agenda. He doesn't only talk about it, he acts it. This is an example of the transformative agenda. Top ministers are women. We have women in top ministerial positions, as CEOs, in almost all of the official positions we have women. At the local government level, the chair of the Sub-Select Committee of Parliament is a woman. Minister for Local Government, a woman. District Assembly Common Fund Administrator, a woman. And for this year, for the first time, we have about 15% representation of women appointed as DCs. One may say 15% is small, but we've never had that. The highest we've had was 10.6% in 2006. And the recent past, it was 8.5%. So to get 15% women representation is great. Nana Chairman, the orientation program is in its third day. The chief executives have been taken through programs focusing on the policy, the legal framework, the planning framework of decentralization. All matters in relation to decentralization, including procurement, contract management, participation, and their roles and responsibilities has been explained, and they have interacted with the resource persons in this program very well. We've had excellent resource persons, the top in the country, to take them through these topics. Ministers have also come to present their priority of programs to them, and it's continued. Today and tomorrow, ministers will continue, and they've had good interactions with ministers, including our current topic on Galamsey. Your Excellency, the MMDCEs are poised to go ahead and recognize that you have put them there to achieve your agenda. They are all excited about their positions. And indeed, I have informed them the effort, the personal efforts, Your Excellency, put into their selections. Your Excellency, he spent whole nights, consultations, working effortlessly, working so much, putting a lot of effort to arrive at the choice of DCs. We have informed them, and you should not take your positions for granted. A lot of effort went into your selection, and we are expected to achieve, not only for Ministry of Local Government, for all the ministries, Ministry for Sanitation and Water, Ministry for Trade, Ministry for Agriculture, Ministry for Interior, Ministry for Lands and Mineral Resources. Every single ministry is expecting you to translate their programs on the ground. Your Excellency, Mr. President, local government sector is grateful for your support to local government and your need and desire and aspiration to see the implementation of decentralization, as stated in our manifesto, to deepen decentralization to the grassroots possible. And we know that all the necessary logistics and resources will be provided to ensure that our programs and our activities are well implemented on the ground. Nana Chairman, the chief executives have not only been at the receiving end. We've also created a platform for them to also articulate their concerns, their challenges, their perceptions, as well as their aspirations. They have also been able to establish networks, not only among themselves, but also in relation to the resource persons and with the ministers and directors and departments that they have interacted to. Mr. President and Nana Chairman, I dare say that they are poised to deliver. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. May I kindly ask you to rise as we receive Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Please. Nana Chairperson, members of the Council of State, President of the Trinity Theological Seminary, and other religious leaders, Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Senior Minister, Ministers and Deputy Ministers of State, Members of Parliament, and Chair and Ranking Member of Parliament Select Committee on Local Government, the District Common Fund Administrator, head of the civil service, the head of the local government service, the Director, Institute of Local Government Studies, municipal, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executive, members of the diplomatic corps, Nananum, Nime, Name, resource persons, invited persons, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It is good to see the metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives of the President of the Republic gathered here from all parts of the country this morning. Although unfortunately not a full house. Out of the total of 216, 199 of you have so far been approved by your respective assemblies. I'm hopeful that the remaining 17 will join you very soon. To you gathered here who have made it, I congratulate you warmly on your nomination and subsequent approval. I wish you the best of luck and God's blessings in the discharge of your important duties, and hope that you justify the confidence that your assemblies and I have reposed in you. With God's guidance, I'm sure you will. This gathering is a crash course of an orientation towards the demands of the office of a metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executive for short. From the days of the colonial DC, through his flamboyant counterpart of the DC of the First Republic, to the present-day chief executive, this position in the administrative structure of the country has attracted considerable attention and scrutiny. This is for good reason. The chief executive has the most regular and direct impact on the lives of the people. You set the tone for the administration in your districts. That is why the Constitution, in Article 243, tells us that you preside over meetings of the Executive Committee of the Assembly. Further, you're responsible for the day-to-day performance of the executive and administrative functions of the Assembly, and you are the chief representative of the President in the locality. The people of Ghana spoke loudly and clearly on December 7 last year. Whether this cry for change will be truly reflected in the lives of the people will depend very much on what type of chief executive they get. The best efforts of the President of the Republic and the Ministers of State will be brought to naught if you in this room do not perform creditably. The people of Ghana will see and feel and know the change they voted for has truly arrived if and when their chief executive delivers on the promises of government. It starts, of course, with the attitude you adopt towards people. You can easily get caught up in the honorable and excellency game and begin to think that change has indeed come because you're now being called honorable or excellency, or because you're now riding in an eye-catching vehicle and you're living in the most imposing house in town. Chief executives, change will be measured in better sanitation and a more wholesome environment. People will know there's change when the quality of local schools improve. They will know there's change when there are jobs for young people. And they'll know there's change when officials come to work on time. The people in your districts, municipalities, and metropolises are not looking for a different set of people from the last set to lord it over them. They're not looking for a new set of people to jump the red lights and traffic queues instead of working to find solutions to the traffic jams for all of us. People will know there's been no change if a 3-unit classroom block is still built at exorbitant cost to the state, and if contractors are not being paid on time and businesses are suffering. Above all, people know there has been change when the chief executives are seen to be implementing the promises in the NPP manifesto. They will know change has come when you treat them with courtesy and humility as their servant. They will know change has come when the Galamsey menace has been defeated in your locality. The Constitution spells out clearly the process through which we would decentralize governance to the local level. Almost 25 years later, this remains very much work in progress. The instinct of the average person is still to look toward Accra for things that fall within the jurisdiction of the local authority. I'm expecting that you will be part of the team that finally brings decentralization to fruition. This would mean that the district assemblies build their capacities and are able to handle the responsibilities that have been devolved to them by law. It is a well-known fact that I belong in the group that has always advocated for the direct popular election of chief executives. It is now a manifesto commitment of the ruling NPP party. So you must be aware
This week, we are walking in the shoes of Mami Fuatando, owner of Love Ankara, the beautiful ballerina shoes made from African print.
This was the very first pair that was made. This one doesn't have any branding in it because we had to test it first. And what was important to me was the fact that I had to walk in my own shoes before I could let any other person do that.
More from Mami Fuatando on the love for fashion and all things print this Wednesday on the Joy Business Van on TV, radio, online and on ground. Is empowered by Joy Business and supported by Busy, Great Things Happen and EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Will be implemented at the constituency level, where the allocation of the equivalent of $1 million United States dollars annually will be used to finance capital expenditure for infrastructure and other facilities in the localities. Once established, the development authorities for the northern, middle, and coastal belts will serve as the primary executing agencies under IPEP to oversee the implementation of the $1 million One Constituency program. The One Village, One Dam policy initiative, like all the innovative introductions to the economy, are all very much local initiatives. I'm hoping that a genuine sense of fair competition will come into the operation of the districts. We should be able to see the difference in the quality of schools from one district to the other due to the quality of the supervision. We should be able to judge for ourselves quite soon what one district does with its $1 million and compare it with what another district does with theirs. It is up to you in this hall to make the One District, One Factory initiative a success. The challenge is very much for the deprived areas to take advantage of these programs to bring change to your districts. You have the opportunity to change your districts from places where people move from to places where people move to. Let your factories thrive, and you will soon discover that people will move to your districts instead of the current position where all our young and strong people move away to Accra and Kumasi. While a lot of funds will be flowing into the districts, and every attempt will be made to get the common fund allocations to you regularly and on time, I urge you to work on internally generated funds. You will not make the progress you should if your development program is solely dependent on the relatively meager sums you get from the common fund allocation. And please, apply your district assembly common fund judiciously towards the execution of planned and approved projects. It is not for recurrent expenditure and should not be misused or abused. It is a good idea quickly to get your assemblies to restructure your financial operational system and targets to take advantage of the new initiatives introduced by government to promote accelerated economic growth. There is a lot of work to be done to make our assemblies work as they are expected to do. You should start by making sure you acquaint yourself with all the relevant laws and work in close collaboration with your assemblies, traditional authorities, opinion leaders, religious leaders, and other key stakeholders in your localities. The substructures of the MMDAs are crying out to be enhanced and acknowledged. Help build their capacity and allocate resources to allow them to play their proper roles in the local government system. I do not intend to start any new controversy, but I'll say this. We need to take a closer look at the unit committees and zonal councils especially and see how effective they can be. If we need to do some radical realignment of the structures, we should not be afraid to do so. This would be a good time to take a close look at the things that work and those that do not, and not carry a lot of baggage simply because they are on the books. The other important role you play is that of chair of the District Security Committee. You do not need me to tell you that your most important function is to ensure peace and law and order in your districts. All our plans will only work if there is peace. I advise you to be careful and tactful in managing issues of intelligence and security. Chief Executives, experience has taught us that a lot of the tension that arises in the districts and frustrates the work of government comes from the at times fractious relationship between members of parliament and chief executives. Please avoid such conflicts and let the MPs get their share of the common fund timeously. I do not and cannot and nor want to issue any edicts on anybody's political ambitions. It is enough to point out that many of the tensions between chief executives and MPs also start when chief executives want to run for parliament. I mentioned it as something worth keeping in mind as a possible source of trouble. Also, do not overlook one important historical fact. The misfortunes of the ruling party in the general elections of 2000, 2008, and 2016 had a lot to do with the collapse in relations between chief executives and MPs of the then ruling parties. I believe that the new paradigm of effective governance demands maximum cooperation between chief executive, MPs, and the new kids on the block, the officials of the development authorities. The closer and more sincere will be the cooperation, the greater and more extensive will be the development. And let me assure you that your appeals through your spokesperson have been well noted. And within the constraints of our public finances will be duly acted upon. I must remind you that whereas the Minister for Local Government, in the person of the resourceful and energetic Hajia Halima Mahama MP, who enjoys my full confidence, has oversight responsibility for decentralization, implementation, and local government, regional ministers are required to monitor and evaluate your performance and submit periodic reports to the President. I expect you to accord regional ministers all their due respect, as they are the President's representatives in the regions. There is furthermore a new layer of accountability within government, the new Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation, which has a broad remit to oversee what is going on in the entire government machinery and make recommendations to the President on its improvement. A final word about your personal integrity. The nation is looking for a higher standard of conduct from its current public officials than in the recent past. You, like all of us in central and regional government, have to live up to that expectation. It begins with the declaration of your assets as demanded by the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act, 1998, Act 550, Schedule 1V. The Office of the President will submit all your names to the Auditor General by Monday, 10th July, whereafter you will be expected within 2 weeks to file your assets declaration forms. That exercise will be monitored. It is important that the Ghanaian people understand that for us, public service is exactly that, public service, not personal gain. As chief executives, you have my confidence and trust. The people of Ghana have put their hopes in us. We dare not betray their trust. This is a sacred opportunity. Join me to make this nation the happy and prosperous place it should be. I wish you a successful program and traveling mercies back to your localities. Thank you, and may God bless us all in our homeland Ghana and make us great and strong.